All right, all right. We're breaking down the Bucks. It's Friday, November 24th, 2023. Bucks versus Wizards. Let's get into it. All right, gentlemen, we're breaking down the Bucks versus Wizards Friday night, November 23rd, 2023. Bucks come in at 10-5, Wizards at 2-12. Joined as usual with my go-to group here, Drew DeJour, Dust, Austin. Welcome, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into it. Bucks versus the Wizards in Milwaukee. Bucks come in at 10-5, Wizards at 2-12. First and foremost, gentlemen, I wanted to get your thoughts. It was a in-season tournament game. What did you think about the jerseys, Drew?
Thumbs down. That's a boo on the blue for me, dude. Never been a fan of the blue jerseys. I did, however, appreciate the subtleness of the court, toned down from what we've normally seen in the in-season tournament so far.
Dust?
I'm middle on the jerseys. I like the court a lot better than the other courts I've seen for sure.
Crocier.
I think the court is above average to the rest of the court or the rest of the league's courts, but jerseys, I think we got to stick to our own colors. Once we start getting to all these crazy colors, I'm a fan of sticking to our own home colors and having a couple retro jerseys.
Right on. I'm thumbs up on both. I like both. So, for the record, I'm in on both of them. Let's see here. Wizards come in with Tyus Jones at the point guard. Reminded me of his Duke days when he beat the Badgers in the national championship game there, Austin.
Yep. I just remember that freckled face, screaming, trying to think. He didn't really do too much tonight, did he? I mean,
he's solid. I think they gave him a fairly healthy contract. He was amongst the leaders in assist-to-turnover ratios last year in Memphis. Filled in nicely for Ja Morant when he went out, Drew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did.
He's a good guard. I was going to bring him up earlier or later on too. I mean, I think right this season he's averaging like 7 assists per turnover this year as well. So I mean, he's taking care of the ball. I don't know his contract situation. Is he a guard that we'd want to go after in the trade deadline? Because I mean, they have no reason to keep him right now.
Right. I suspect there'd be a wholesale in Washington.
You know who I liked is Kispert. The threes that he was making, they were going in like just pure, just wet as could be. So I don't know.
He's a
Keep
nice
an eye on
shooter.
him.
And then another familiar face, Johnny Davis, was playing for the Wizards tonight. I don't believe he got in the first game against the Bucks earlier this week. Drew, are the Wizards happy with his progression?
Absolutely not. I mean, didn't they draft him in the first round?
He was a first-round pick. Yeah, maybe it
Top-
was a
Top
lottery.
10.
So
Thank you.
Congratulations, Badgers. But no, they're not happy with his development. They expected him to be a significant contributor to that team. And I don't know what his minute total was tonight, but I don't think it was double digits, was it?
You made the mistake of asking the Marquette fan. He's definitely, I don't think he's living up to the expectations of what a first-round pick or a lottery pick should be. But I'm not saying by any means is he a solid player or anything. When he was drafted, he was a G League player and was struggling in the G League. I think he's starting to get a little bit into what he can be, but he's not going to be anything more than an 8-minute per game and just go get you a couple rebounds and scrappy plays. Other than that, he's not anything in the game for me. I don't think so.
Well, for me, he's a non-shooting guy in a jump shooters league. So
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
he can slash nicely, but it's tough to get to the bucket when you can't play off your jumper in this league.
Yeah.
So moving into the first quarter, guys, broken record, but Bucks got off to another slow start, Austin.
Yep, another slow start. Kind of same old, but you had to expect that. I'm trying to think. What was the final score of the first quarter?
It was 35-34 Washington after one.
Okay, so another where we're being lazy on defense, I would say. I mean, we're giving up 30 plus every single first quarter. I mean, besides maybe that one game that was an anomaly when we gave up 99, but I mean, we're just coming out lazy, and then kind of takes them to hit some threes in our face to get a fire under yeah.
Yeah, it looked like Beauchamp and Jordan Poole got into it in the first quarter there, Dust. What'd you see there?
Yeah, I think Poole, I said it before, he's kind of got an ego. He likes to run his mouth a little bit. So Marshawn's not really a kind of guy you would see kind of do something like that. I think he kind of just shoved him in the back. So Poole had to have said something to him there to get him going, but under his skin. But I don't know, just a little frustration thing probably there by Marjan.
Yeah, I kind of like seeing the little bit of edge out of her players, even though it's not smart at the time.
Yeah.
Sets the precedent. Drew, Giannis was a little loose with the ball there at the end of the first quarter and a couple plays in the second quarter against double teams. Does Giannis have a bag?
Yeah, Giannis has a bag. One of those things in his bag is not handle, one-on-one on the perimeter. If he gets a big guy on him, he can probably duck his shoulder. But he's got a bag, but ducking and diving people is not in his bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
His bag is his first step. That's his biggest part of his bag. He can just get right by you with one step. And that second step, he's already at the rim. So, I mean, it's unstoppable.
And I think we touched on this last week when we played them too, that they don't have a soul on their team that can guard Giannis too. So
it's tough with Giannis. He's got at some nights he can get to the cup through 5 people. Other nights it's kind of messy, and he has some turnovers, and he takes some wear and tear in his body. He's on the floor a lot. So depending on the night, he needs to move the ball at times, I think. Especially to save himself over an 82-game series. So it's a little bit of a judgment call, I guess, on his part, depending how he's feeling and how effective he is on a given night, in my opinion. Dust, it looked like Ajax got in the second quarter, had a nice pass to Chris in the corner. What'd you see out of Ajax early minutes here in the second quarter?
He gave some good minutes. I know we're going to touch on it a little later, but Chris, you mentioned him there for a second. I thought he started to get it going there in the second quarter. Good to see his groove going a little bit, but having him hurt again, man, that hurts to see that, because it was nice seeing him get some good minutes there in the second. Started off the second with a lob to Giannis and ended the second quarter with a lob to Giannis as well. It's kind of cool to see that, but seeing him going out in the third kind of hurt.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a little bit back and forth there in the second quarter. The Wizards ended up being up at halftime, 61-60. And like you said, it looks like Coach Prunty drew up a nice play at the end of the half for Giannis to get that easy bucket. Moving into the third quarter, it looked like Chris went out the game, Drew.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to be anything serious, but anything non-serious, they're going to be as precautionary as possible with him right now. So no reason to put him back out there.
I think I got a thing that said left calf tightness. So
Melanie said left Achilles tightness. So I think with any Achilles injury, you got to be extremely careful, right? Especially at that age.
Yep.
And then Ajax got in early in the third quarter. Looked like he took a bad foul, and Coach took him right out the game, Dust.
Yeah. It's good that Griffin's not going to stand for that. I mean, you got to be smart, especially in a close game. He's got to have your head in the game for sure.
Just going off that with Coach Griffin. So you know how the other night that when Coach was yelling at Giannis or whatever that scuffle was after, or like a timeout. And
Coaching moment.
Coaching moment. Yep. Did you see what Stephen A. said about him?
I did.
Said about that moment. He brought it up today on the show. That's the only reason I'm bringing it back up. Is he said, "Well, you better not make Giannis mad, because the second you get under his skin, he'll have you out of here in a second." So I don't know. I don't think Giannis is like that. He's not like a James Harden or a thing. So I thought that was out of pocket by Stephen A. just looking for views. So
I think Giannis wants to be coached.
Yeah, so it looked like after that bad foul by Ajax, Griffin turned to AJ Green, Austin. What'd you see out of AJ Green there in the third quarter?
I like that he just shoots it when he can. I mean, when he's open, he shoots it. So I mean, I watched him miss one from the right wing, and then he even had a guy in his face like the next time down and just splashed one. So I like the confidence. He knows he's a shooter. That's his role. So I like that out of him. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he's got to shoot it, but when he's not shooting it effectively, his game is not effective, right? He doesn't do.
He's a liability.
Yeah, I mean,
liability on defense. He doesn't rebound, so
there's a reason why he's not getting minutes, and it's because he doesn't do the things that Pat and Marshawn do, and that's get after the ball on the floor and play solid defense, and that's where AJ lacks. So
late in that third quarter, Bobby had a monster block that looked like it was going to switch momentum there, and Beasley got it on the fast break and just kind of threw it into the first row. It's kind of a disappointing play from Beasley there. Drew, do you have any insight on that?
I mean, he hasn't played well most of the year. That's all I got.
I can't say that about Beasley. I felt like nights he has shot it very well for us. He's taken the challenge on defense. But I do hate him in the open court. I feel like he dribbles too much and doesn't find Giannis early enough on the fast break.
Yeah.
So
I think
he did have that one. He did have that one throwdown. It would have nice to have been seen that right after the Bobby dunk as a sequence. But
I think the story in the third quarter was Brook Lopez for sure. I mean, he had 15 in the third. I think
I can't believe we
most of them
haven't
were
touched
all
on
right
him
around the
yet.
rim. What's up?
I was gonna say I can't believe we haven't touched on him yet. Almost
Yeah,
a 40 piece.
He was killer around the rim, and he's starting to get that Giannis treatment where you have to follow him, and they're going to start following him more, and the refs are going to start calling it because he's so big, and he's around 2 attempts at the line for his career with Milwaukee, but I expect that number to start going up.
yeah, absolutely. So 92-89 after 3, Bucks were up, and like you said, Austin, Brook got cooking there. Kind of brought out his slashing dribble drive to the basket game there, Drew.
Turning back time, trying to be as athletic as possible for us, and it's great. We need some leadership to kind of get the team to gel, and Brook seems to want to take that on his shoulders, and it showed tonight.
Yeah, and they kept going back to Brook, and I know that's something that you were calling for last podcast there, Dust.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brook. My thing is, I think this year he's a big 3 for us, and he's a potential third all-star we could have on this roster. Defensively, he's leading the league in blocks, or up there, at least 3 blocks a game. And we've seen him score efficiently and well tonight. So he's a potential all-star bound too. Him, Dame, and Giannis.
Yeah, and Austin, it looks like the Brook and Dame pick and roll is ahead of the Brook and Giannis pick and roll at this stage in the game.
Or the Dame and Giannis pick and roll.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we saw that from game 1. I think the announcers saw that when we were in prime time. Just Brook and Dame seemed to gel out of the gate. I don't know if that's them being older guys or I don't know, but it's kind of one of those things. Don't break it if it's not or don't fix it if it's not broken. So I would just keep going to it.
I think credit Dame for for Brook and Dame working too. He's like 3rd in the league in points off of pick and rolls. So averaging like 12 or 13 points a game off pick and rolls, Dame is. So it's a lot of credit to him there.
He was going to the rim a lot more today too as well. Love to see that.
Right. And then late, we couldn't close it out. Drew, what did you see with the Bucks defense late in the fourth there?
Struggled to guard guards down the stretch. Once again, it was Jordan Poole didn't have a very good first half, but he kind of came alive there at the end for them, and it's kind of been the same old song and dance.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to make matters worse, Pat Connaughton gets to the line late and misses 2 free throws. Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
I didn't like how he played those free throws. Me and Augie kind of pointed out Giannis getting the ball, shooting free throws. Granted, he made them both. Still, I don't want him at the line shooting free throws. Up 1 point with 16 seconds left. There's no reason for him to be at the line shooting those.
The funny thing is, he looked perturbed when Pat didn't pass him the ball at the end of the game. And what do you know, Pat goes to the line and bricks too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so Brooke, Dame, and Giannis all finished with over 30 points. Bucks get the win again, 131-128. And their next game is against the Blazers on Sunday. So the return of the Blazers, Dame gets to go against his old team, although it's not in Portland. But that'll certainly be interesting to take a look at.
Yep, it definitely will. I mean, there's not too many familiar faces though showing up in the building besides Chauncey Billups, right? Is he still there? I think so. But otherwise, they kind of cleaned house for their team. So
yeah, we'll see. All right, gentlemen. Well, let's have some fun here. It was Friday night versus Washington, so I thought we might need some material to brighten our night up here. First thing I want to do is do a little game called Name That Buck. And Augie, you were not here for week 1 to name that buck. But gentlemen, who is this? Yeah.
no guess.
You guys should get this. You know, and I did a good job, I think, of picking an obscure picture.
Yeah, I can't really see the face that great.
Let us know in the comments if you know.
I mean, he hit a 3-pointer. A big man that hit a 3. Who was a big guy who was hitting 3s for us?
With the uniform change, so with the new ownership group.
Yeah, very recent.
Goggles.
Man.
That's not Miles Leonard.
I mean, this is a guy who played
close.
more than 15 games for us.
Not a center. I would
Not
call him a 4-3 hybrid. Nothing?
Nothing.
Gentlemen, that is Mirza Teletovic.
Teletovic. How many games did he play for us?
In 16-17, he played 70 games for us, 16 minutes a game. He averaged 6 points a game, 37% from the field, 34 from three-point range.
This is Jabari Parker days, right?
Yes. Jason Kidd, Jabari Parker days. So that's Mirza, folks. You guys struck out today. That's all right.
Good.
Let us know in the comments if you knew who Mirza was. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's take a couple comments from our subscribers. Dust, Dave Scalf, 2996 says the 2-man game needs to be better against the Celtics. If they can become unstoppable, that would be great.
Yeah. I think we kind of already hit on a little bit that Brooke and Dame are a great duo as well. So, I mean, I think we have options. If Chris can be healthy, I think Giannis and Chris, they have great chemistry in the pick and roll. They have a great 2-man game together. And then Brooke and Dame have a great 2-man game as well. So, I mean, we have options all across the board with 2-man games. It doesn't matter if we can pick and choose when and when. But I think in big games, we want it to be Dame and Giannis as the 2-man game.
Yeah.
For sure.
I can chime in there too for the Celtics aspect. I don't know if you guys saw today too. Orlando beat Boston again. I think that's they beat them 7 of the last 8 times they played them. I think these last 3 years. So, I mean, we got to figure out something they're doing. But
Gotcha. And Brian Brody 2803 says, "You think the Bucks should pursue John Crotty, Drew DeJour? What are your thoughts there?"
I mean, he's got to be 66 years old at this point. But in his prime, man, he could have helped this Bucks team. John Crotty on a 10-day contract could have helped this Bucks team.
No doubt. Well, the thing about Crotty is he can run your offense for 10 days, and then on day 11, he can get you financed on a used car, just like that. So if he's got any gas in the tank, I say you kick the tires on that. But, you know, kind of the evolution of the G League, if you will, or the D League, whatever you want to call it, has kind of made the days of the 10-day contract obsolete, right?
Unfortunately so.
Unfortunately for the likes of John Crotty. But shout out to Brian Brody. Appreciate the question. Next, gentlemen, I want to do a little bit of game of this or that. Austin Crozier. For the Milwaukee Bucks current roster, would you rather have Cam Payne as your backup point guard or Pat Bev?
Get that out of here. Keeping Payne. Keeping Payne. Not even thinking about it.
Does anybody disagree?
Pat Bev's a pest on the defensive end, but I don't like. I'm not a fan of Pat. I don't like Pat's personality.
Yeah.
Next, I agree with you guys as well. I like what I've seen out of Payne. Probably going into the year, I probably would have said I'd rather have Pat for the defensive aspect.
Yeah.
But love what I've seen out of Cam early, so I'm going to stay with Cam. Next for Dust. For a backup center, would you rather have Robin Lopez or Serge Ibaka for the Bucks current roster?
Neither. I don't want either one.
You got to take one.
I can't. I have to.
You have to. You got to fill that roster up.
Fill that last spot. I would take Robin to make Brook Lopez happy. That's the only reason. The only reason.
See, I'm a guy that thought that Serge Ibaka had some gas in the tank with Bud's team.
I was not a fan of that trade we made when we went for him. We wasted too many firsts on him. Our last trade assets for Serge Ibaka that didn't even play for us. So, I mean, Serge, I think his days are cooked in Milwaukee. I think we ended on bad blood, too, to be honest.
Right, he left the team. I remember that. And lastly, Drew DeJour. For the Milwaukee Bucks, would you rather have Pat Kahn or your boy Luke Kennard?
I mean, I would rather have Pat Connaughton. He's got chemistry with the team. He can defend. He can rebound. I think Luke can score better than Pat can, but I'd rather have Pat.
I don't know. I was gonna say I'd almost disagree, but I think holding on to Pat's defense, letting go of that defense would suck. But Kennard out in that, just thinking of Kennard outside, catching some kickouts from Giannis is that sounds incredible. But I like Pat's D.
I gotta take Pat. He's got a chip with us. He helped get Dame here. I go with Pat.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, that's all I got for the night. I appreciate you joining us. We'll be against the Blazers on Sunday. We'll see you back here. Appreciate you breaking down Bucks. Later.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.